Hello soul friends, this is Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is all about the person you're thinking about and what they are thinking and feeling about you. This can be romantic, platonic, personal, or professional, whoever happens to be on your mind. So, expect some mazy readings depending on which ones you pick. Today we're going to be using this deck here. And this deck here. Both of these decks are made and sold by smaller companies and are not mass produced at this time, so I will be putting their information and links in the description box for you. Remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or it's just your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. And no matter how you look at that, it's healthy and you are in the right place. So we're going to live shuffle. Those will be for later. We're going to live shuffle these. We're going to do an energy check-in with these. One for your person and one for you. So I need two for each. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Those came out in an interesting way. All right. And we will get you some rocks. And then we will get you into your individual readings. So let's see here. Group one, let's give you this crazy little tumbled stone. It's got some where is it? Inside there, it's got like a bunch of druzy. It was given to me by a friend. All right. I think it kind of looks like a funny little mask. Okay. And then group two, let's go ahead and give you this interesting little heart. I have no idea what kind of stone this is. It feels very light. No clue, but it's in the shape of a heart. And then, group three, we're going to give you 3 red jaspers. And let's see, group four, let's give you the smoky quartz palm stone. Okay. Go ahead and pause if you still need. Otherwise, we will see you in your individual readings all about what is your person thinking or feeling about you. We will see you there. Bye. Hello, group one. So if you picked the tumbled little druzy-filled mouth of a funny little face, let's go ahead. Make sure that sucker's not going to wobble too much. And check in with the energy of you and your person. This will be how you can tell if you're in the right group or if you need to switch piles. And what we'll do is we'll get another one of these to see what's between you. Okay, so your person, you. If for some reason you're like, man, that's really accurate, but I feel like that's my person and this is me, just go with it. But I'm going to be referring to this as them and this is you. So just keep that in mind as you move forward if you feel like there's mirroring or like a switcheroo completely. All right, so let's look at your person. Oh no, the thief. Okay, so this could be a literal sense. This could be a sense of, they stole something, like your heart, or they stole your happiness, or they stole, that kind of deal. Or it could be like they actually literally stole something from you. So somebody who took something from you in a bad way. I don't feel positivity yet. Like if they did steal your heart, I feel like they maybe mistreated your heart. okay? Especially if this is romantic, but no, across the board, it feels negative. Maybe somebody stole something from you at your job, or somebody stole something from you, or didn't pay you back for something. For someone, it feels like maybe they stole like something really big, like they stole your whole life. Yeesh. Okay, well, let's look and see if this is you over here. We have remembrance. This kind of feels like whatever they did to you is going to stick with you forever, is what it feels like. This also could be a person connected to your past, and you're just like checking in to see where they ended up. Or like you're checking in on them because maybe they recently approached you and tried to get back into your life somehow. Okay, let's look and see what's between you. If this person didn't actually steal something in some way, it could just be that they just can't be trusted. You know what I mean? Here's this. It's between them. The key. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Did they steal your key? Like, did you break up and they moved out and then they didn't bring your key back and now you worry about them getting into your place and stealing things? That feels relevant. Yeah, that's about what I'm picking up. So hopefully that's enough for you to know if you're in the right group or in the wrong one. Interesting. So let's see what's going on with your person. How are they thinking and feeling about you right now? Remember, this doesn't have to be romantic. This can be personal, professional, platonic, or romantic. Okay. Seven of Wands. Ace of Wands. The Tower. And Justice. Okay, so it's a very interesting energy for how they're thinking and feeling about you. It's almost like, I wouldn't say almost, it is sort of like, it feels like this person sees you as a threat or a challenge in some way. Maybe for those of you that this person came back into your life and you're just seeing, what their intentions are, what you're up against, that they see you as a challenge. This person also just always ends up feeling like everyone is challenging them. It doesn't feel like a logical or truth-based reality for them. It feels like they project that onto people to feel like they are the one that is in the right, when really they are very much in the wrong. For the romance people, they have like passion towards you. So like if this was romantic, they're still attracted to you. They still want to, I don't know if getting back together is the right word, but like I feel like they would get back together with you if you played by their rules, right? Definitely highly recommend against doing that based on their energy is feeling pretty yucky. This is also about them trying to come up with new ideas to use against you. Remember that my readings, I don't go for the really, really serious, over the top, like someone's going to cause you physical harm. I tell my guides that we don't want to read about that stuff because this is just for, a channel, and, just kind of, I don't want it to like send anybody like out getting like a bunch of like, security equipment or whatever. However, if you feel like you are being threatened in some way or somebody means you harm, do tell the police. Disclaimer said. But it feels like possibly they might be trying to do magic on you or have tried to do magic on you. I don't feel like it really worked. They have tried to disrupt or bring disharmony into your life, and would certainly do it again if you let them get close to you. But to them, they feel like they're doing all the right things. Like if they were to get theirs in this situation or get some poetic justice in this situation, they would be like, it's so unfair. I'm such a good person. Why is this happening to me? Okay. They are not capable of actually seeing fault in themselves. I'm getting some narcissist vibes, not a diagnosis, but personality traits. They could be a full-blown narcissist. I'm just not a skilled psychologist or a licensed psychologist, certainly. But it does give me some narcissistic vibes of kind of creating problems for themselves and then blaming everyone else for those problems, and sometimes fixating on one person and giving them a hard time. And I feel like that's kind of happening here with the key and the remembrance. They could circle back to you even though you haven't seen them for a while. It could be something they've done before, or they just recently did it, and that's why you're reading about them. But they see it as a challenge. Whatever you've done to like oust this person out of your lives, I don't feel like this person is in anyone's life at the moment. I feel like they're kind of out on the outskirts, like they get inside your mind sometimes, and you worry about like what they're going to do, what they're thinking, what they're planning. And the reason why you feel that way is because you're intuitive and you feel that they are putting that energy out there. You can feel it, and it makes you feel uneasy. I don't see it coming to anything horrible. Obviously, this is a general reading, so if you feel like they're going to do something really terrible, take precautions to protect yourself in whatever legal means that means to you. But they're definitely like a destroyer. I don't know if they actually mean to be, but that's just kind of how things end up when people deal with this person. So that's pretty yucky. And I think you know why this is how it is. Like, honestly, it could be something as simple as rejection. It could be something as simple as you not following along with their narrative that they like to give out. You could have stood up to them. You could have, ghosted them or just distanced yourself from them when you realized they weren't a good person. Because I feel like this started out across the board, whether this is romantic or platonic, professional or personal, that the two of you used to get along quite well. And part of what your sticking place is with them is that remembrance of that. But notice this red moon in this picture. Like, bloody looking moons can often mean that there's trouble not too far behind. So your guides are saying to like remember also that this person is not capable of being what you thought they were before. They weren't even what you thought they were before. It's not like they were awesome and then they changed. This is just how they operate. And it could be shocking to hear that based on how good they were before, but it's pretty typical for people like this to pretend until they get everyone fooled, and then they kind of just move forward from there. I don't think that all of them know that's what they're doing. But this person is doing a fair amount of scheming against you and saying it's fair. Oh, it's fair. It's fair for me to And I feel like this scheming against you is really just to either get you back under their thumb or to make you feel like you were the bad guy in this situation. And sorry, so sorry. I should have paused. It's like they want you to, like, you're almost like the key to them for feeling better in some way. So like if this is a breakup situation and they did pop up out of the blue, or like any of them, like a friendship, an employer, or anything, it's like that whole showing up and either acting like nothing ever happened and let's just, I'm just going to throw in a conversation that, or start a conversation with you that feels like nothing ever happened bad between you. And then that makes you feel like you don't know how to, when somebody does that and they're acting nice, it's hard to be like, yeah, you want to say hi to me now like nothing ever happened. How about you apologize for the weird, awful stuff that you did, And if that's the case, then they feel like they're at a block. And that's when they get angry and want to like get around that. They also could come in being very affectionate, like, I made a huge mistake, I miss you. They probably wouldn't admit they've made a mistake. I don't think they'll use those words. It's more like, I just haven't seen you for so long, I miss seeing you. Like you disappearing on them was some sort of mean thing that you did for no reason, and they just want to know what's going on, right? And it's not genuine. Like, they're a thief of energy. I feel that. And they feel like that's just what they have to do to be okay. And it's like, no, you're causing damage and pain to others. So, group one's person kind of sucks. Or like a job type thing, they might feel like they will lose you or already lost you. And so they might, call up with some kind of a enticing offer. And you are tempted to because you want things to be better. Excuse me. And you also want to, there's a party that wants to get back to that place of remembrance. And your guides keep warning that that memory is not genuine. That it was never real. That that person is not the person you thought they were pretending. Okay, let's get some more tarot for advice for you. I like these three. 9 of Cups, that's positive. 6 of Wands. And 6 of Pentacles. I don't know if you heard that little ding, but I just got a message. I gotta go check it. 1 second. So the advice from your guides that I'm getting with the 9 of Cups, and actually across the board, they're saying not to agree to any promises this person makes to you. If they've come back into your life in some way, they might make it seem like they're going to make all your wishes come true, how much they admire you, and how balanced out everything's going to be. But what are they actually going to do, Spirit? Yeah, they want to play on what they feel is your innocence. They want to play on, I don't always read the full card this way, but it's like they want to, or they already do assume that you're somebody who can be fooled by them. That you're gentle and innocent like this little fawn here. Okay. But really, they're just wanting to thieve something away from you. It definitely feels like they thieve. It's not thieving. It's just like, stealing. Try to use proper words here. Because thieve is not a verb. But anyway, it's like they're counting on, I think they think everybody is a fool. Super narcissistic vibes. They feel like they're the best person in the world. Everybody else is bad, or they're really, really good if they're playing their game, right? But if they're not, then, ooh, you know, look out. Let's see. Yes, deception, keeping you in the dark. And just playing on that innocence and tying it back to those remembrances and trying to get you back into their fold. Oof. So this person is not somebody, and this is the other thing that's problematic about them, is that emotionally they actually believe and feel sometimes like somebody is the answer to their prayers, but then that same person can also become their worst enemy because they just didn't do what they want. Like they're not capable of having healthy relationships that are romantic, platonic, personal, or professional. Like they're always trying to get one over on someone. And that's yucky and I don't like it. So yeah, definitely don't trust this person. Your guides are warning you left and right to stay away from them. You know, anyone can change, but they usually don't, you know? So it's like, you know, and even if they did change, that type of narcissism and that type of selfishness is not going to go away overnight just because they want to change. And I'm not even seeing them wanting to change yet. I see them being ready to say that they already have changed or that they're going to change for you. But I don't see it being something like you should trust it. Okay. And with that, I'm going to let you go on that one. Remember, you're worth more and deserve better than somebody who operates like this. So if this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you would like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, group 2. Ooh, I spun your heart. So you pick this little, whatever kind of heart this is. Let's go ahead and get you your energy check-in for you and the person you are thinking about. Let's start with, we're going to do, this is your person, this is you. If you feel like it's still resonating, but this is you and this is your person, go ahead and just flip them in your mind and, you know, just try not to get confused when I keep saying them over here and you over here. Okay. And then we'll get another one of these to see what's between you as another little extra check-in, and then we'll get into clarifying with tarot. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Mischief. Okay. And the secret. Interesting. This is like really personal and I don't want to say it, but I guess I have to, don't I? For some of you, I feel like this is your child you're thinking about, and maybe they're getting into some kind of mischief. Maybe their friend group isn't that great or isn't that trustworthy in some way, or just is somewhat problematic, and you're kind of like, meh. For some of you, and this is very specific for only like maybe 1 or 2 people, and who knows, it could be somebody that watches this over a year, you know, from now or whatever. But for whoever needs to hear this, some of you, the secret that you have is that maybe this child is not yours. Okay, so like if you're the father or the father figure in this, you sometimes wonder if they are your child because of their behavior, maybe their looks. It feels more realistic and serious than just, who is this child? Is this child even mine? There's some of that energy in there too, but let me just get this one specific message out of the way for some very specific people. If you're the mother of this child, you might not actually know for sure who parented this child, and that might be a secret that you've kept. You might actually know that the father of this child is not the man that you are with who thinks it's his child, and that could be a big secret that you carry. So that's a very specific energy check-in for some very specific people. But yeah, that definitely came through first. For some of you, your secret is that, and this is like a secret you keep from the child. Okay, so we're still with parents here, but don't worry about the parentage. This is for people who are actually, actually the parents of this child. Oh, hang on. Your secret could also be that your child is like adopted and they just don't know it, or that, both you and your partner now know that the child is not, his or whatever, not his or not yours. Like, y'all might know that, but you've kept that from the kid, that either they're adopted or that they had different parentage of some kind. And that's a secret that you've kept from them. But yeah, it feels very much like a kid who's acting out or causing mischief and making you feel like you're worried. For some of you as well, this is still in the parent thread. And so probably once we have this energy check-in, I'm just going to go very general so that I'm not saying a million different things a couple of different ways for like 6 or 7 different scenarios, 6 or 7 different types of parents. You feel like they're on the wrong path, that they've got this like bad set of friends, or that they're going to end up bad. And part of the secret is that you've always worried that it would come to this, and you would never say that to them. But now that it's starting to like rear its head, you're like, oh no, it's coming true, kind of feeling. It could be that you've kept secrets from them about like your mischievous past, and that somehow you've passed that on to them. Hang on one sec, my tea kettle's screaming. And then for some of you as parents, I just had it and then I lost it. Hang on. Some of the parents that might be watching this at some point might feel like you're keeping this a secret from others, like you're not letting on when people ask you if your kid's doing okay. You're like, oh yeah, they're doing great. They're, getting good grades and they're making good decisions. Like maybe you're telling that to their grandparents, to people who you kind of worry about what they think. You might be projecting a different image of them on your social media accounts, things of that nature. What else? Lots of parent vibes. I think that's it for parents. Okay. If you don't fit quite into that category of the secret category, but you still have a child who's into some mischief or falling into a bad friend group, probably definitely stick around. Your guides will still have some good advice for you. Okay. I also feel like maybe you're keeping it a secret that you're displeased. Like you're worried that if you call them out on it, like they might just get worse. This could be especially in the case of they're so into like their significant others or their friends that you're like scared if you say anything about it, it's just going to push them farther away and into the arms of this mischievous crew or person that they're running with. Okay. What else kind of stuff is going on? And then I do get teacher vibes or people that work with kid vibes. You might have like a batch of like ornery students or a batch of ornery, clients that are young. What else? And like you keep it a secret that you're, like deep down you kind of hate them, and you probably don't really hate them, but on some days you might, right? And I've never been a parent, so I don't know if parents have those same thoughts where they're like, oh, that kid, that would be a conflicting feeling. If you do have those feelings, I would say forgive yourself if you do, because some of us have a myriad of emotions that we go through, and like sometimes feelings of hate can be one of those myriad, part of that myriad of emotions. But yeah, that's mainly what I'm getting. You could be in law enforcement and dealing with some like rough crews in your town, or in your city. Like it almost feels like what do they say when they, when the energy turns. I can't remember what people used to say when I was teaching, but like we'd get, a bunch, it's such a small town that every once in a while you get this influx of, different kids from out of town, and their types of mischief that they get into are considered to be a little bit more on a grander scale than what the local kids get away with. And so that's also coming up. I'm not sure if I'm getting much else than that. So if you're looking for like a couples thing, I really feel this like thing that it's about kids getting into trouble, which is so crazy. I've never had a reading pop up like this. So we're just going to go with it. Let's go ahead and see what your person's thinking and feeling. We have the Six of Swords. Possibilities. This is an extra card that comes with this deck. It's got a lot of, I think it has all the different animals in it that are represented in the deck, but then there's also this dragon to top it all off. Okay, we have the Seven of Wands. One more. And Strength. Okay, so this doesn't surprise me, especially if you're the parent, but even if you're just an authority figure, the energy still stands. They're definitely going through that push-pull that kids go through of, I need protection, I need someone watching over me, I need somebody strong to protect me, right? They might even criticize you about how well you take care of them, but then they also do the whole, it's my life, why can't you just leave me alone, right? I taught teenagers, and I was a troubled teenager myself growing up, so like I know all about their picadillos. All their little push-pull scenarios and their little, you need to take better care of me. You weren't there for me, right? And then, I wish you just let me live my life, right? I'm an adult. You should tell me, treat me like one, etc. and so forth, even though they're like not an adult yet, You know how it goes if you've got one of those around you or several of them. So yeah, definitely that typical teenager push-pull thing. It's so funny. I was just watching an old movie last night where the teenager had a chip on her shoulders and she's glaring, and everything she said was like way over the top, and but really she just wanted her mommy, to like take care of her. It reminded me of when I was a little kid and we would get annoyed by those teenagers and be like, man, they're so mean to their parents, right? I'm never going to be like that. And then, guess what happened, right? So what are they thinking and feeling about you? Well, it's like they're challenging you sometimes and then wanting you to coddle them at other times. They're wanting their independence, and want to explore all the possibilities of their life right now, but they can't because they're still a kid. And they still want you to look after them and protect them, but they're not very good at telling you that because they don't feel like they should be at that stage yet. So, very, very typical teenager type feelings here. Let's go ahead and see what your guides have for advice for you. Okay, yeah, be the adult, be the emotionally stable one, be the one that, still has an open heart to them, but also doesn't take any of their garbage, okay? If you're not sure how to do that, I highly recommend checking out a type of child rearing. It's for little kids, but it works for teenagers as well, called Love and Logic. It's old, because I'm old, but I used it when I was teaching. And so it was kind of this, I'm very upfront at the beginning of what my rules were, right? And then once somebody broke them, instead of being like, oh, you're in trouble, you broke the rule, I'd stop, like, they just did something completely, like, you got to present yourself like you're also kind of a teenager who doesn't care, right? Or like a person who just doesn't care about what these kids are doing. it was easy for me because I didn't care what they were doing. You know, like when you were in 7th grade, did you care about what like a 5-year-old said to you? Not really, you know? So it was kind of like that, taking that persona into the classroom, but still showing them like compassion and caring. But also when they would act out, just be like, huh, well, that's annoying. You're kind of breaking my rule. Remember how we all agreed to that at the beginning of the class? And now here you are breaking it and wasting my time. All right. I don't really want to stop and waste any more time with you, you know? So come find me later and I'll tell you what we're going to do as a form of punishment, okay? Just come find me. And I mean, by the end of the day, I would have forgotten that scenario even happened. The kid would immediately button down and be good. That kid would come find you and say, do you know what you're going to do now? I mean, you would think they would see right through it, but they don't. It's a really useful tactic to use. And the thing that's cool about it is that it's genuine. You know, it became genuine for me. And I kept using it because not only did it get them in line, but it also, I could see it shaping them into being more self-sufficient and just making more mature decisions and not, you know, having that constant wanting to butt their heads against somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to butt my heads with somebody today. You know, I would even kind of on our calm moments, you know, call them out on things like, yeah, you guys' hormones are like all over the place, right? Ha ha ha. But your little brains aren't finished developing yet either. And so like, you're just a walking, talking mess right now. And because they're snarky and sarcastic, they kind of enjoyed that sense of humor. But then I was also, you know, an adult that they could come to if they were, you know, crying, if they were upset about something. For the most part, I'm sure there's plenty of kids out there that were, you know, they couldn't stand my style and hated me and, you know, saw right through me and just never would have trusted me, you know, as far as they could have thrown me. But you have the advantage of them being your children if you're parents. When you're a teacher or somebody that's dealing with them, taking the emotion out is the best way to get them to diffuse because there's nothing to butt up against. It's like, huh, okay, you're just like being disruptive. I guess I'll just sit down and not teach. I already know how to do this. You guys are the ones that have to pass the test, but whatever, you know. And then other kids would get them to fall into line. It's pretty insane. Another thing you can do to like connect with them emotionally is have like scheduled time where you sit down and you talk about things and you tell them stories. I know that sounds crazy, but sitting them down and telling them a personal story about yourself when you were their age and how you handled it and what you did wrong and how you, and then not turning it into, okay, so that means that you shouldn't do that anymore. You just tell them like that, yeah, that happened to me, but now I know to do it this way. And that's suiting me way better. It's just taking all the emotion out of yourself, and it actually will eventually start to leave you for real. It keeps everything in perspective. And as silly as this sounds, it makes them feel like you're taking care of them while not challenging them or fighting with them. All right, this one on top wants to come out. 9 of Cups. If you follow that motif, you will pretty much get your wish fulfillment of what you want these guys to do. So like if they're hanging out with friends you don't like, or situations that, you know, like say their friends have been over at your house and the friend was disrespectful to you, but you didn't know what to do because they're not your kid, you know, that kind of deal. Or a kid's being disrespectful to you in the classroom and like, you know who their parents are and you don't want to mess with that kid because their parents are kind of like, you know, always going to take the kid's side no matter what awful thing their kid does. That if you just, I mean, you can still do the same tactic of like, ooh, I don't know why you just did that. That was pretty rude, you know? And like saying that something's rude is usually a good word to use. Because it's a word they understand, and they're reasonable enough by, you know, like their teenage years that they usually understand that that was like unacceptable behavior in some way, that it was unbecoming of them because they always want to look good, right? And so saying that and then being like, yeah, we don't do that at my house. I guess that's kind of like not a good thing, huh? So and so to your kid, right? And then you put it in their hands. Like, so what happens when somebody breaks that rule? Like, what happens to you? And it just kind of makes them feel like they have more of a say, that they don't have anything to rebel against. I wish I could teach a course on it, because I think out of all the years that I taught, I only sent a kid to the office, and it wasn't the same kid. I taught for 13 years, and I think I may have sent a kid to the office like 3 times. And only 2 of those were like severe. Like the kid was about to punch somebody else, and then when I got involved, they were going to punch me, like that kind of situation. Like putting their hands on you kind of thing. And even that, still I did very, very much like, man, you look like you want to hit me right now. I mean, you could. There's nothing I can do. I'm only 110 pounds on a good day. But that's going to look really bad for you, that you punched a tiny little woman in the face who was just trying to do her job. So maybe we should just step it on back. That kind of thing. I don't know why it works, but I mean, I do kind of know why. They just don't have anything to bash up against. And so they immediately start to kind of get this taken aback feeling. What's interesting is that it also works on little kids. That was who it was designed for, this tactic. My nanny lived in and nannied my sister's kids for 2 years, or a little over 2. I don't remember. But it got to the point where, just knowing I was disappointed in them was enough for them to be like, no, is the same type of thing. Well, you broke the rule. Guess what you have to do now? I don't want to go to my room. Yeah, but you broke the rule, so maybe next time don't break the rule. And then they'd run off and go slam themselves in their bedroom and cry and cry and cry, and then come out and say, but I want to be good. It's like, well, all you have to do to be good is follow those rules. And then praising them. And as silly and canned as it seems, especially for like teenagers, it's a good thing to set them down and say, hey, I really appreciate like that one thing you did the other day. That was awesome. Like it really helped me out. Like you're a solid shooter. Not literal shooters, but you know what I'm saying. And that will get you what you want. It got to the point where my classroom was like a dream. The only time I was bummed was when I had to go out of the classroom to go deal with like the adults, right? And, doing professional development and meetings and stuff like that. The classroom became a safe place for me. It became a safe place for them. It will work for you. It doesn't feel like it will, but if you try it, what's cool about it is that it works almost instantly. And it's because they want you to fight with them. They want somebody to rebel against. And if you're just like, I disagree. And yeah, you just don't even have the energy or the, what do you want to call it? You just don't care enough to even bother with this silly little fit they're throwing, right? It works. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, end of my little love and logic rant there. Okay. Yes, doing that will give you your power back over them, and it will make you feel better. You'll feel more secure. You'll feel self-sufficient about it. So if say that you're one of those parents that you're like, just wait until your dad or your mom gets home, and they're going to be so upset. And that other parent kind of gets used as the like end all be all of, okay, now you've really crossed the line. It'll actually put you in that seat and you handle it. You don't have to worry about calling them at work or worrying about getting them to come home or whatever, right? Having to deal with the kid just being an absolute nightmare while they're away for business for a few weeks. And then they finally come home and you're like, honey, guess what your son did? That kind of thing. Okay, let's see what else they want to say to you. It will work out as you plan it. As long as you plan that as being part of your strategy, it will work. And yeah, it'll take away that burden, okay? That burden of just feeling like all the weight's on your shoulders and you just can't get this little munchkin under control. When it comes to their friends, you can't pick them, you know, it's awful, and you can't pick whoever they choose as a partner. But once you get this sort of thing down pat, because if they're being ornery with their friends, chances are they're kind of being ornery in other areas as well. So in times that are calm, you know, it's totally acceptable to sit them down and say, hey, you know, things have been sort of changing. I don't really like care for your attitude. That one thing you did that one day was pretty messed up. And, you know, I'm going to take this privilege away from you. And they're like, I hate you. You're the worst. Like, I know, but I don't care. You know, it's bizarre how it works. They don't buff up against you as hard. And so when it comes to their friends, you know, having that open dialogue with them, if you're rocking this stuff going on, and then you have like your little story time with them. I know, even if they're a teenager, it's just a good time to schedule that in. And you can be upfront about it and schedule it in. We did restorative circles, and pretty soon the kids were like, oh, let's do those. You know, even the ones that didn't like them at first got into them. But you can also just kind of segue, you know, keep a mental note of like, okay, I still need to do our little check-in for the month or whatever. And you would be amazed, because they do still want somebody to take care of them. They just don't understand that they do. Does that make sense? I know I feel like I'm not explaining this right. Also walking around them with the air of like, you can't get away with too much. I'm in charge here. And actually believing that will take care of 50% of the problems already. But you have to actually believe it. If you don't believe that you have any control over anything, and that they're just going to, you know, it's like, or if they find out you care so much, it's like blood in the water, and they'll turn on you like the little dogs that they are. But then when you actually rock this energy, they'll actually get really close to you and trust you a lot. It's crazy. But that's what I did. It was immensely, you know, successful. And looking back at my own troubled teenage years, the adults that acted like that around me, they actually got the most out of me as far as like positive behavior. Okay. Let's get one more card for you just to top us all off. Yep, the High Priestess. You do this, and pretty soon it becomes intuitive. Pretty soon it becomes like you just know what to do, okay? You don't have to put up with that silly stuff, you know, whether they're little or big, grown, right? And you can also like say things like, hey, your friends are, you know, breaking my rules left and right, and I don't want them in my house. And I don't want you hanging out with them either. They might still sneak off and hang out with them, but you could have, you know, ramifications for that if you needed. You know, I caution against that just because a lot of times it can push them into rebellion. But if it's to the point where you feel like they're in danger, then you got to step up and take charge. Okay. And with that, I shall leave you. Let me know if this is helpful in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you would like a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. And my friends, we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Hi, group 3. So if you pick the 3 red jasper stones, let's go ahead and get into your reading. All about you and your person, what they're thinking and feeling about you. Again, this can be romantic, platonic, professional, or personal. Let's go ahead and say this is your person and this is you for like an energy check-in. And then if we need, we'll put an extra one to see what the situation is between you. I didn't have to do it in the last pile. In fact, I totally forgot to draw their next card, because it was like, oh, this is exactly what I think it is, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. They're your guides, not mine. I don't know. I don't know who this resonates for or who it doesn't. If you feel like the energy is switched, like this is you and that's more like your person, just switch them. It's totally fine. But I am going to be referring to them as you, and this is this is them and this is you. So, you know, just try to keep that straight. Clearly, I can't even keep it straight enough to say it. This is them. This is you. Let's go ahead and take a look. Heartache. Interesting. Resolve. Okay, so right off the bat, regardless of what type of relationship it is, it did feel romantic from the start. But it also can be any other type of relationship that you're thinking about with this person. You resolved to do something and that caused them heartache. Okay? They didn't like what you decided that you needed to do, is what I'm feeling here. And so they're like hurt at you right now. And it's palpable enough that that's like the main energy that they're giving off. I'm also seeing just kind of a wounded soul in this card. Like they get triggered really easily and it causes them heartache even when it's not the exact same thing that happened before. I can relate to that. And for whatever reason, whatever choice that you made or whatever you resolved to do was not what they wanted. So like you may have chosen to distance yourself from them and that's causing them to feel heartache over you. You could have resolved to call them out on something and put them, kind of put them in their place. And they, instead of being, mature and grateful about it, they're hurt. But they're like genuinely actually believing that they've been harmed by you in some way, whether that's real or not. Like, I definitely feel like it might not be totally, like, some of you are like, what do you mean they're hurt by me? I can't believe they're even thinking that way. Some people just are kind of like that. And there's a bit of a similarity to that in group one of like this sort of like a person not being capable of taking self-responsibility of some kind, of someone who once they have been called out or whatever they were trying to do didn't work out for them, it's like they lash out. It's somebody else's fault. It's your fault, that kind of feeling is definitely there. Not for all, but for some. For some, it could have been a legit reason that this caused them heartache. But not all of them, right? So some of them are justified in how they feel. Some of them are not justified in how they feel, but both believe wholeheartedly that they've been hurt by you is kind of what they're showing me there. Let's see what's between you in general. Spring. Spring is about hope. So it's almost like you had high hopes together and then I feel like maybe the hopes got dashed for you early on and you had to move forward and resolve to do that and then they got hurt. It's like there's like a hope that, I keep hearing hope springs eternal. It's like there was a hope that didn't get fulfilled by either side for each other. So like definitely feel breakup vibes for sure, but if it's a different relationship, just go ahead and go with that. If it's not romantic. Okay, let's get you some tarot about how they're thinking and feeling specifically. Interesting. Okay. Let's take a look. Queen of Wands. Six of Swords. King of Cups. Three of Wands. And possibilities. Lots of similar cards coming out, but in different spread meanings. It's weird. Okay. Okay, so I feel like this person is kind of dramatic. I'm going to be honest. Or that they're at least handling this in sort of a more emotionally dramatic way. The Six of Swords is about like, it usually shows that little person in a boat you know, with another little person. They're huddled and they're getting away, and there's like swords actually stuck in the boat. Like maybe somebody was throwing swords at them when they were trying to go. Yeah, I mean, that's what I always think about when I see it. Like, you know, like in the cartoons where they just get away and then that like dagger's like, like right next to the, you know, wherever they just were, right? They just barely missed them. And it almost feels like your person feels like you were taking care of your own self, because the Queen of Wands takes care of her own self, and like sort of left them behind to deal with whatever turmoil was there for them. That does not feel entirely intellectually or emotionally honest to me. And so it almost feels like because you resolved to do something, they're like, oh, how can you do that to me? It's not, but like really you were just doing what was best. And they can't accept that kind of feeling. Definitely look into group 1 if this is resonating for you. And they see you as like, oh, you're fine. Everything's fine. You're doing great. And you left them in the trenches taking grenades, John. That was a quote. Your name doesn't have to be John. I'm still waiting for y'all to start telling me what movies I quote in the comments section. That's something I'm never going to let go, because I will always quote movies, my friends. And so they want you to be like the emotionally stable one that keeps everything under control and keeps everything feeling okay. But I don't feel like they really have done the same thing for you. And so when you resolve to not put up with it anymore, then it was like, oh, you hurt me so bad, is what I'm feeling there. And to them, it's like, you know, you are the mature. They do see you as the mature one, the stable one, okay? But they see you as like, oh, they're just going about their plans, having a great old time, having all these possibilities. They could be creeping on your page if this is like a breakup situation. It doesn't have to be romantic, but, you know, like, you know how it is when you have a falling out with somebody, you might go creep on their page and see how happy they look, right? I see that going on. I see them being like, oh, look at them fulfilling all their happy little plans and just left me in the trenches taking grenades. Like, boo-hoo me, you know, like it's not fair is kind of the energy that I'm getting from them towards you. So Spirit, what kind of advice do you have for group 3? 4 of Wands. 5 of Cups. 10 of Wands. And 3 of Cups. Okay. This definitely feels more romantic than other, but I'm still keeping it the same, just in case. So your guides are showing that you deserve something more balanced. That's their advice for you, that if you stick to your conviction that this was not working out and just continue to move forward, regardless of the guilt trip that's being put on you and the heartache that person is in. I know that it felt like, I feel like some of you felt like you got kicked in the stomach when I said they're hurt over you. They feel like you hurt them. It doesn't feel intellectually or emotionally or even spiritually honest. But they believe that that's how it is. And that's why it's kind of hard for you to like take them back or go back, because I feel like that's how they're always going to be, you know, like holding you responsible for their emotions, etc. and so forth. So your guides are saying if you can move forward and leave that energy behind and let go of the fact that that person's disappointed in you and just let them sit with their feelings, that something better and more balanced will come in for you, that you'll have more abundance and celebration in your life, and that things will genuinely get better. They're also saying not to focus on what is lost, but to focus on what you've still got, okay? Focusing on just what you've lost and how awful it is kind of putting you more in the energy of what this person's rocking, and you don't want to end up in that spot. You don't want to be in that space, because it's just a trap. You'll stay there forever. There's always bad things to see, right? You need to focus on what you have left and what's going well in your life. And that'll ease that burden of like guilt, all right? I feel like some of you might already feel like an easement, like an easing of guilt, even though you still feel that twinge of like, they really believe that. That sucks because I'm not like that, right? It's okay. Like, I feel like some of you feel relieved because it's getting called out right here. Your guides are showing it to me as being dishonest, right? That they're even lying to themselves, that their own feelings are not honest or congruent with the actual reality of the situation. They're showing hanging out with some friends that you know and trust who would agree with you that this situation was like toxic and not good is a good way to move forward and feel better. Well, let's see what else they have to say. Yeah, focus on doing projects with those same people. Notice the Three of Coins and the Three of Cups. There might be two people that are very special in your life, or three very special people in your life that just help you out. They could be people you work with or just people that you do projects with. So like if one of the project things is like you're in a band together, like, well, go spend some time doing that, okay, to try to get this, spend it with people who are worthy of what you have to offer, as opposed to someone who kind of blames you for everything, even when you're just trying to take care of yourself, okay? Ace of Wands, new inspiration coming in. Something's going to come forward very soon that's like a light going off in the dark or going on in the dark, and you're like, oh, I understand now. And that feels good because, hang on, my TV is about to start playing. Sorry about that. Full disclosure, like it's so dark in here because it's snowing outside right now and everything's totally clouded over. I'm like, oh, it's so dark. What's that from? All right. And so I have this like big yellow screen on YouTube just kind of blasting over here to try to give us some more light. So anyway, it got to the end of its little player there and it was about to start playing ads and new videos, and so I had to stop. Okay, so anyway, let me know if it's snowing where you are yet. If you're watching this during the time I filmed it in November. But yeah, like a light going on in the darkness. Notice also, I love this too. Look at, there's 3 birds there. So it really feels like there's like some strength and guidance and some really close people, like 2 or 3 really close people that just help bring you, they help build you up and not tear you down. And so over and over again, your guides are showing this as like being some type of way to get past this. I still am not getting any vibes about like, oh yeah, forgive them and take them back, right? It's almost like their message is very much they're incapable of, at least right now, anyone can change. They just usually don't, right? They're like incapable of seeing their own fault. And so it's hard for them to move forward and do anything in a, like to make progress in any way. Anyway, okay. 4 of Pentacles. You do have protection at this time. Just a minute. Oh, what was I saying? That you have protection at this time? I don't want to run it back. I'm lazy. All right. So we'll say that's where I ended up. And then I'll watch it later and be like, it was horrible. All right. 4 of Pentacles is also them saying to protect yourself, protect your own feelings first, because that's what they're kind of doing, is considering their own feelings first. And so with that, I think we are through. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, thank you, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Well, howdy-ho there, Group 4. If you picked the Smoky Quartz Palm Stone, let's go ahead and see what is between you and this person. So energy check-in. We're going to do, this one is your person, this one is you. If you feel like the energy is swapped, go ahead and just go with the swap energy. And just, try to remember that I'm saying this is them and this is you. If we need to clarify in the middle, I will grab a third one of these to see what's between you. If it's very straightforward what is between you, I'll probably forget to do that like I did for group 2. Tell me about all the funny things I do and forget to do that I say I'm going to do in the comments section. I love to feel embarrassed. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at your person. Vigilance. Okay. And we have otherworldly for you. Okay. So, not gonna lie, I feel romance. Gross, you guys. Some of you that have been watching this channel for a while are like, yay, whenever she says gross, it means it's romance in a positive way. Have you ever noticed that? I've noticed that about myself. I don't say gross as much when I'm talking about like breakups. But I do when I'm talking about things going well. And I absolutely feel like things are going well between you and this person, whether it's romantic or platonic, professional or personal. This person recognizes that there's something otherworldly about you, that you're special in some way, that you're kind of a unicorn. And this, I mean, even bosses can feel this way about certain employees, right? Of like, oh, where did you come from? You're like a breath of fresh air sent from heaven. Like how I mixed those up. And they're wanting to be vigilant about protecting that, or not diminishing that in some way. They want to keep you around, that kind of feeling. I'm just curious. I want to see what's between you. This came right out when I was grabbing the tarot. So let's go ahead and see. The Maestro. It's like you're both cultivating something together, and it's like creating this beautiful like symphony. Gross. You guys are so gross. I can't even believe it. Ew. If you're not romantic, you're not gross. You've just got good news, because this person values you in some way. They value your uniqueness and how you kind of are a cut above the rest in some regard. And they just want to keep working with this harmony with you. So that's very nice. Let's get some more details on how they're feeling about you. I have a feeling it's going to be super gross. Okay, I don't want those. I want these two. And I want these three. Okay. So gross. Okay, let's look and see. Two of Swords. The Magician. I feel like the Magician kind of goes along with the Maestro card as well. Even though I think there's probably a Magician card in that deck also, if memory serves. King of Cups, but for some reason they give me the same vibe. I don't know why. Page of Pentacles. And King of Wands. Okay. So if this is a romantic thing, which is super, super gross, once again, I can't stop stressing about how gross and disgusting that is. Aww. They aren't quite sure how to communicate how they feel about you at this stage. And that's probably why you're wondering and watching a reading on like, how do they feel about me or think about me emotionally? They want to do everything right. They want to use all the right tools and do all the right things and really manifest this into either you staying with the company or staying their friend or taking them as a partner of love. Gross. Okay. They want to show you that they are emotionally stable. They feel like you're emotionally stable, that you're kind of, you know, they really feel like you have your ish together. And that's something they really like about you. They definitely think you're not crazy or flawed in any way. And they are going to get this message to you somehow, because Page of Pentacles is all about messages coming in. And like people stepping up to the truth, or stepping up to a task, or stepping up to getting this message out to someone. He's very calculated about it, because the Pentacles are all about calculation. Some of you might work together, and so if it's romantic, that can present some challenges. And so, you know, it's like, how do I get them to feel comfortable enough to where they accept my romantic advances, but don't go running to HR, you know? Yeah. Pretty gross. If it's a friend, or a friend or like a colleague or a boss or something along those lines, or like even like, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm feeling. They don't know how to express how special they think you are because like they feel like it'd be like a weird thing to tell you, because that is something that we generally reserve to say to people romantically in a lot of cultures. But they want to find a way to tell you like, you've got your ish together, you're the whole package, you're awesome, and I need to tell you about it. Like I need to make sure that you understand how appreciated you are. And the King of Wands shows their action being very geared towards doing that. So I don't think you'll have to wait very long to know how this person feels about you from them, okay? Either in words or deeds. The fact that they're showing this and not like King of Swords makes me feel like it's going to be more like deeds, okay? Like showing you in some way that they appreciate you. Obviously, if they like you and you're not together yet, they're going to have to come clean eventually, right? And they know that. So in the case of romance, if it hasn't happened yet, right, they're going to make sure that they try to, get you, right? But if it's like a romance you're already in, just rest assured that if they're not really as good of expressing how they feel, look at their deeds and their actions towards you to try to see like what their love language is. Does that make sense? So like, an example, my partner is very good at saying words, but he also does like deeds, okay? Like, fixing your car or, just doing something nice for me, doing a chore for me that he knows I would rather not do. Those kinds of things, like little labors of love, are part of his love language. And because I'm such a cerebral, verbal person, I didn't notice that right away about him. And then realized like, wow, I'm a jerk face. He does a lot, right? And then it's like, maybe I should do more deeds instead of just saying words, because maybe that would speak to him, that kind of thing. I feel it's more like deed oriented than like verbal oriented. Yeah. And I feel like for some of you that might be kind of problematic. It kind of is for me too, just because like I said, I'm kind of wordy and I want people to say the things, declare it out loud. What's going on here? And they might be like, what are you talking about? I showed you, right? I acted that out. I'm showing you every day how much, right? So that's something to think about. Let's get some advice for you. Can I tell you guys a secret? This was like the only positive reading in the whole group. So you guys really lucked out if you picked this one. Page of Cups for advice. Queen of Pentacles. The Fool. And the World. Okay. So your guys are showing with these cards for advice for you that even if you haven't seen this and you're not sure about it with this person, like even if this is romantic, to like be a friend to them. Somehow also, sort of try to let them know that that they care about you or that you appreciate the deeds they've done for you. Okay. They're also showing the Queen of Pentacles. Maybe do something in return for them. Be giving in return if you haven't already. That's a language that will speak to them, especially if it's like romantic and they're just not sure how to say it to you. They're worried about rejection and you're like, I don't want them to be worried about rejection because I like them too, because I'm super gross. So showing them deeds because of that love language of them doing rather than saying will speak to them very loudly about how you feel. And so that's a good way to communicate with them without speaking words. And then just, in case you're like me and you're a cynical little critter, then you have an out. They're like, yeah, you liked me. I know you did. And you're like, nuh-uh, like I was just being nice. Just because I did that one thing doesn't mean I like you, whatever. Not that it's going to come to that. I'm just being silly. The Fool is like, take a leap of faith, trust it. You have protection. They also see you as being very kind and gentle. They also do see you as already being very giving. So just kind of lean into that a little bit. And then they show the whole cycle coming to like an end, not between you, but this whole like uncertainty period coming to an end in a good and positive way. Okay. Like Bambi's dad found him after, his mom got murdered. Did you ever watch Bambi? That was a messed up show. Anyway, let's get some more advice for you. Things working out well between you, maybe getting an answer to something you've been waiting to hear. Things coming up rosy, getting the news that you've been hoping that they would say, etc. and so forth. So good news there. Not really advice, but good news. What else? Oh, the Empress. I feel like this person will treat you right. Definitely. Your guides are saying to just embrace, like, if you're like, oh, but I'm not that pretty, or I'm not that good looking, I don't know why they'd be interested in me. Oh, shush about all that. Clearly they like you, regardless of what this situation is. The Empress is about, abundance, being secure in yourself. And so your guides are saying to feel secure in yourself because all these things that this person feels about you are true. It's not just them being Twitter-pated for you. That's from Bambi, by the way. Let's see what else we got. We got strength. This is a strong situation, but it's a good situation. It's positive. It could lead to something lasting. It could lead to something really great for both of you. 6 of Swords, that's being supported and having protection over you at this time. 5 of Pentacles, if you're worried about rejection or being left out in the cold, please remember that this card is only about the perception or the fear of that and not reality, okay? If you're worried that you're going to be left out in the cold if you trust this person, for example, your guides are saying that that's not something you have to worry about, okay? And let's get one more to top us off here. The High Priestess, they're saying that you already intuitively know that to be true. This card wanted to come out too, so we're going to give you an extra. Glad I pulled this one, 9 of Cups. That means like your wishes are coming true. Like your wish is being granted. Well, I don't really have much else to say about that, you lucky little devils who are super, super gross if you were in the romantic category. Like, yuck. But congratulations, yuckies. And with that, I shall leave you. This was a shorter one, but hey, let's leave it on a high note, shall we? If this was helpful, give me comments on how it was in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you would like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.